But even before that, this year didn't feel right for the Chiefs, and the year didn't necessarily feel right for Patrick Mahomes. Yesterday, Justin Herbert was clearly the best quarterback on the field. And Mahomes and Andy Reid and Chris Jones and Travis Kelce kind of feels like they all got really old really fast. And it's hard when you draft at the end of rounds. They'll finally draft near the top of a draft. And that's a big advantage. You can move down if you want, accumulate other picks. Drafting for years and years and years and years at the bottom of rounds is really hard. You know, that's why the Rams will go out and get a Devontae Adams. You got to go sometimes and buy elite players because it's hard to get them in the draft. So Kansas City feels a little similar to Disney in the Marvel movies. They have had a ton of success, but they're trying to they're struggling to develop new characters. That's the way I'd put it. They just don't have enough elite players. It's don't blame the coaches. Small Hulk isn't working quite like they thought. I mean, here's where Kansas City is as a franchise. Travis Kelce's 8-9 surgeries in, and he's their most productive pass catcher. And he's got 1 foot out the retirement door. I mean, that's where Kansas City is right now. And you start looking at the Rams roster and the Eagles roster and you know, bounce around the league. Denver's roster. And I said this, the reason most dynasties last isn't just because you got a great player, a great coach, and a great GM. It's because your division, Nick Saban in the SEC, nobody else could get the coach right. The minute Texas came in and Kirby Smart went to Georgia, Nick Saban and Bama didn't look quite as dominant. Sean Payton in division, Justin Herbert in division, Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, Bo Nix. It just feels different. I mean, Travis Kelce's 36 years old, 9 surgeries in, foot through the retirement door, and he's their most dependable guy. And I know it's hard to take away Grandpa's keys when he's the only guy in town that's got a ride, right? Like he's going to drive everybody around. But this is the reality of what it is. It's not pretty. And I've said this for the last 3 weeks. I've asked every guest, rebuild or retool? I think it's more of a rebuild. I mean, their second best player or best player is a center. They got a really good corner. Mahomes down surgery. I think it's a bit of a rebuild.
You know, it's a peculiar situation because there are numerous angles to examine this from currently. I mean, the Chiefs find themselves in a prime position for the draft, not solely due to their first-round selection, but also because of their picks in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds, and so on. Now, I'm aware many individuals are speculating about when Mahomes might return, employing various quarterbacks and athletes as contrasting reference points. The truth is, comparisons are futile. You cannot liken Mahomes to anybody else. Each individual will follow their own unique recovery schedule. I've heard remarks like, he's a fierce competitor, he'll be back swiftly, that's just his nature. But the reality is, that's largely irrelevant. Genuinely, it has very little to do with it. Every athlete in this position is striving to do everything possible to return. The uncertainty lies in the severity of the tear and the progression of the rehabilitation. Furthermore, there is absolutely no scenario where you hasten Patrick Mahomes back onto the field. You guarantee that individual is entirely healthy and at his peak capacity. This is Patrick Mahomes we're discussing. He is in a category of his own. This is Patrick Mahomes. Therefore, the organization will ensure he is wholly recovered because returning prematurely, without being at full strength, risks re-injury or compromising other areas of the body. The priority is unequivocally ensuring he is 100% fit. However, the objective reality is that Patrick Mahomes has not performed at an elite level over the past several seasons. He hasn't been the authentic, transcendent Patrick Mahomes we recognize. Consequently, the question becomes, what does an extended period away signify for him? What are the implications of a significant, severe knee injury for a player of his caliber? I don't possess that answer, and I doubt anyone definitively can. We can all maintain optimism and wish for him to return more formidable than ever. I personally have faith he will achieve a complete recovery. This isn't a pessimistic take suggesting he's injured, he'll never be the same. I am not implying that whatsoever. Nevertheless, circumstances will alter for Patrick Mahomes. They will indisputably, undeniably change. This is particularly true following surgery. I often reference and did so again recently when discussing Joe Burrow and Travis Kelce's numerous procedures. A powerful statement from Kelce. He mentioned, "I've undergone 10 surgeries, and there isn't a single day that passes where I don't feel every one of them." I've also discussed how, even when you achieve a full recovery, you are never authentically at 100% again. At the very least, your physique never quite feels completely whole. Even if you regain your previous sprinting velocity and strength levels, sensations differ post-game, after practice, or on a random Wednesday in the off-season. Your knee might ache, your shoulder might throb, you simply feel it. The perception is altered. You rise in the morning feeling slightly more rigid, thinking, "This is odd." You notice, "My right knee has a different sensation compared to my perfectly fine left knee, which never underwent surgery." And this persists, despite being medically cleared, fully healed, years after the operation. It just doesn't feel precisely correct. You crouch down to engage with your children, and you sense it, reminding yourself, "Right, I had surgery on this knee, the other one is unaffected." You are perpetually conscious of it. It's a distinct reality. Honestly, it's a profound psychological and physical journey. So, these are additional experiences Patrick Mahomes will now navigate, complexities he previously never encountered. I frequently mention this. It's supplementary baggage you must now manage. It's extra mental and physical clutter. Therefore, observing how the Chiefs proceed from this point will be fascinating. I've contemplated the potential ultimate consolation prize. Suppose this upcoming season is essentially forfeited. This current campaign obviously is. And let's presume the following one is also compromised. You could potentially have Patrick Mahomes return in about 18 months to a profoundly talented squad, because for several consecutive drafts, you will have been selecting at the summit of the NFL order. That is a conceivable outcome. However, Patrick Mahomes' mobility was never akin to a Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. His movement always appeared somewhat unorthodox, correct? The enduring quip is, how does this individual resemble an older man playing casual football, yet simultaneously operate as such a supreme athlete capable of the most breathtaking plays you've ever witnessed? So, his agility was always distinctive. It was perpetually puzzling. How are defenders not hitting him? How are they not bringing him down? It will be intriguing to witness how this evolves. I believe we observed, and I've expressed this frequently this season, a preliminary illustration, a foreshadowing of the future for Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes. We caught a glimpse of what they might resemble when they lose half a step, when they aren't operating with the precise speed, strength, and force we associate with them. It appears strange. It seems abnormal. It looks awkward. Could this injury accelerate that process for Patrick Mahomes? Quite possibly. Probably. Yet, one of the most significant benefits gained from enduring a severe injury, undergoing surgery, and committing to physical therapy and collaboration with elite surgeons and physicians is the profound education about your own body. Patrick Mahomes will acquire more knowledge about his physiology than at any previous point in his existence. You are immobilized. You are interfacing with professionals whose sole expertise encompasses the human body. Menisci, ACLs, muscular imbalances, how gluteal muscles interact with hamstrings and subsequently impact knees, and how lumbar tightness originates from specific muscular groups. He will be reclined on a table, dedicating hours daily to this process. He will develop an immense, intricate understanding of his own physical mechanics, which could ultimately become one of the most advantageous developments for him in that specific regard. Nonetheless, it remains a challenging predicament. It's a difficult juncture for the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has not been the premier quarterback in the league these last few years. Can he reclaim that status? Now, the complicating factor is the progression of time. He is advancing in his career. Andy Reid is aging. Steve Spagnuolo is aging. I presume they will remain with the team. It's implausible they would consider, well, Mahomes is injured. This is a convenient stopping point. I'll retire now. Leading to a scenario where Mahomes returns to a Quan-Shinda coaching staff and roster. I highly doubt that occurs. Even if Andy Reid contemplated stepping away, thinking, all right, perhaps it's time to conclude this chapter, I imagine the Chiefs' response would be, we will compensate you handsomely. Please remain at minimum for the season when Mahomes returns healthy. We will provide whatever financial incentive is necessary. Thus, I don't foresee that happening definitively, but they are undeniably getting older. Patrick Mahomes, depending on his return timetable, will also be older, now with a surgically repaired knee. We shall see. The paramount consideration, which Colin was endeavoring to articulate before digressing onto topics like Nick Saban, is this. When you are a dynasty, when you are elite, when you dominate a conference or division for an extended period, it results from a combination of your own excellence and the collective deficiency of your competitors. The Kansas City Chiefs dominated their division, analogous to the New England Patriots' prolonged supremacy. There existed a stark disparity between the Patriots and their division rivals regarding roster construction, the caliber of play from Tom Brady, and coaching quality. A profound unevenness. That is what the Chiefs sustained for so long. That dynamic is no longer unequivocally present. There was an era where you could examine the Chargers and conclude they were outcoached, outplayed, and outmatched in every facet. That isn't necessarily the case now. It isn't the case with the Broncos. In a few years, it might not be the case with the Raiders. It isn't the case with numerous teams across the league presently. The landscape has shifted. Your quarterback and head coach may no longer serve as the ultimate erasers, the failsafe, where it seemingly doesn't matter what deficiencies exist, because you perpetually possess the superior quarterback and coach who can outmaneuver and outperform anyone in crucial moments. Guaranteeing that dynamic will automatically reassert itself a year or two from now may not be the simplest task, even for an organization that could reliably depend on it for roughly the past 7 years. That assurance is not quite as solid now, and perhaps never will be again. This doesn't preclude them from winning. It doesn't mean they cannot be dominant or exceptional. It doesn't mean they cannot continue to contend for and win Super Bowls. It simply indicates the pathway is more arduous. Alternatively, they might endure a couple of transitional, less successful seasons. Patrick Mahomes might not return until late next season or beyond, rendering this season a lost cause and potentially the next one as well. Then he returns, and perhaps the Raiders still haven't resolved their issues. Maybe Justin Herbert is consistently hampered because his protection remains inadequate. Perhaps Bo Nix did not develop as anticipated. Matthew Stafford could be retired. Sean McVay might be struggling to identify his next quarterback. Maybe Caleb Williams isn't progressing at the projected rate. The Eagles could be in a rebuild. The 49ers might still be determining Brock Purdy's long-term viability. The Chiefs could still find themselves in a favorable situation. The Bills remain the Bills, the Ravens, but Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are also aging. They are in a similar phase. Hey, we're all navigating this later career stage together. Conversely, newly drafted quarterbacks could emerge, with someone like Jackson Dart unexpectedly taking the league by storm, and the Giants becoming formidable. The future becomes inherently unpredictable. It genuinely does. But it is undoubtedly a disappointing development. Hopefully, Patrick Mahomes can return, making a full recovery without complications or setbacks. It's simply a strange, unsettled period for Kansas City. The reality is, elements haven't seemed entirely correct for a couple of years now, for several seasons. They managed to cope. They discovered methods to secure victories, which somewhat obscured underlying issues, Patrick Mahomes' own performance level among them. This year, it proved insufficient. Everything culminated in this injury and the subsequent loss to the Chargers. Frankly, even before the injury occurred, it didn't genuinely feel like Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs were poised to mount a comeback and win that particular game. The momentum wasn't there. So, it was an unfortunate conclusion, but for the Chiefs as an entity this season, separate from the tragedy of Mahomes' injury, it felt like a fitting representative finale. It accurately depicted the team they were throughout this campaign. But those are simply my perspectives. I would truly value hearing yours. What are everyone's thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? Do you believe this roster requires a comprehensive rebuild? How do you perceive their potential path forward and the overall unfolding of this season? Share your insights in the comments section below. I read every single comment. Whether you concur with me or challenge me, let's engage in some dialogues. Let's have some spirited debates, but ultimately, let's simply enjoy the discourse. Please consider subscribing. We are cultivating a fantastic community here and would absolutely adore having you participate. I aim to construct something we all feel a genuine connection to, something we are genuinely enthusiastic about being part of. I believe we are steadily progressing toward that goal. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it genuinely assists with visibility and the platform's algorithm. Thank you so very much.